think these lines are not the usual. It's really probably easier to say it when you say the first two lines together, like Vibhuvana Kamanam Kamalavanam Varikara Gaura Varam Varam Didani. Anyway, try it. Try it. Whoever wants to chant. Too far away.
For my husband.
Oh, that's all right. Or anybody else, lady. Three statuses of the planetary system. Kamanam, the most desirable. Tamalavarnam, bluish like the tamal tree. Ravikara, sun rays. Gaura, golden color. Varam Varam, glittering dress. Dane, one who wears. Bahu, body. Alaka Kula Avrita, covered with paintings of sandalwood bow. Anana Abjam, face like a lotus. Vijaya Sake, unto the friend of Arjuna. Rati Astu, may attraction be reposed upon him. May mine. Anavadya, without desire for fruitive results. Hare. Is it on even? There it is. Haribol. Sri Krishna is the intimate friend of Arjuna. He has appeared on this earth in his transcendental body, which resembles the bluish color of the tamal tree. His body attracts everyone in the three planetary systems, upper, middle, and lower. May his glittering yellow dress and his lotus face covered with paintings of sandalwood pulp be the object of my attraction, and may I not desire fruitive results. Purport. When Sri Krishna, by his own internal pleasure, appears on earth, he does so by the agency of his internal potency. The attractive features of his transcendental body are desired in all the three worlds, namely the upper, middle, and lower planetary systems. Nowhere in the universe are there such beautiful bodily features as those of Lord Krishna. Therefore, his transcendental body has nothing to do with anything materially created. Arjuna is described here as the conqueror, and Krishna is described as his intimate friend. Bhishma Dev, on his bed of arrows after the battle of Kurukshetra, is remembering the particular dress of Lord Krishna which he put on as the driver of Arjuna's chariot. While fighting was going on between Arjuna and Bhishma, Bhishma's attraction was drawn by the glittering dress of Krishna, and indirectly he admired his so-called enemy Arjuna for possessing the Lord as his friend. Arjuna was always a conqueror because the Lord was his friend. Bhishma Dev takes this opportunity to address the Lord as Vijaya Sakhe, friend of Arjuna. Because the Lord is pleased when he is addressed conjointly with his devotees who are related with him in different transcendental humors. While Krishna was the charioteer of Arjuna, sun rays glittered on the dress of the Lord, and the beautiful hue created by the reflection of such rays was never forgotten by Bhishma Dev. As a great fighter, he was relishing the relation of Krishna in the chivalrous humor. Transcendental relation with the Lord in any one of the different rasas is relishable by the respective devotees in the highest ecstasy. Less intelligent mundaners who want to make a show of being transcendentally related with the Lord artificially jump at once to the relation of conjugal love, imitating the damsels of Rajadam. Such a cheap relation with the Lord exhibits only the base mentality of the mundaner, because one who has relished conjugal humor with the Lord cannot be attached to worldly conjugal ras, which is condemned even by mundane ethics. The eternal relation of a particular soul with the Lord is evolved. A genuine relation of the living being with the Supreme Lord can take any form out of the five principal rasas, and it does not make any difference in transcendental degree to the genuine devotee. Bhishma Dev is a concrete example of this, and it should be carefully observed how the great general is transcendentally related with the Lord. Shri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Okay. The outside speakers are not on. They could hear it outside of the babies, but things have to be adjusted. Okay. Tribhuvana Kamanam Tamalavaranam Ravikora Gaura Vara Ambaram Dadane Vapuralaka Kulavatana Navjam Vijaya Saki Rata Rastamena Vajam. Shri Krishna is the intimate friend of Arjuna. He has appeared on this earth in his transcendental body, which resembles the bluish color of the tamal tree. His body attracts everyone in the three planetary systems. May his glittering yellow dress and his lotus face covered with paintings of sandalwood pole be the object of my attraction, and may I not desire fruitive results. So, there's some major points in the verse. The intimate friend of Arjuna, which appears at the end of the verse, it's said in English in the beginning. Vijaya Sakhe, which refers to the friend Sakhe Arjuna. In the 9 examples given of great devotees in relation with Krishna, then Arjuna is given as a friend, the example of friend, and others like Sukadev. He was well known, he's famous for speaking and Parikshit for hearing. Parikirabhavid Vyaski Kirtane. So Arjuna is famous for this. And Sarvopanishado Gavo Dugdha Gopalanandana in the Gita Mahatmya. Sarvopanishado Gavo. The Gita, which is spoken to Arjuna, is also the essence of all Upanishads. Upanishads are the essence of Veda. And of all these Upanishads, the Gita Upanishad is the essence. It is the... So, Gopalanandana, Krishna is milking this essence. And this milk is being drunk by Arjuna. Vatsa Partha. He's compared to the calf that's drinking the milk. Shudir Bhokta. And all the purified persons, sages, other devotees, they are all Shudir Bhokta. They're drinking also this milk. And Bhagavad-Gita is indisputably the most well-known of all Vedic literature. Of course, in India, many people, they still know Mahabharata. But Arjuna is famous as friend of Krishna, and he's drinking the nectar. And he's also ordering Krishna in the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, so he's very intimate with Krishna. Ratam stapya me chuta. He says, please, because Krishna had volunteered to be his chariot driver, so Arjuna was ordering him he has to order him, he's the chariot driver, and Arjuna is the warrior in this case. So he ordered him Achyuta. He also called him Achyuta, means one who cannot fall. So Arjuna knows that Krishna is infallible. Advaitam achyutim anaryananta rupam ajam purana purusham navayoganam. Vedeshu durlabham adurlabham atmabhakti. Can only be understood by bhakti. So no one could fail to recognize Arjuna as a friend. In the beginning of the 9th chapter, Idam Tute Goyatam, when Krishna is explaining, he says, Anasuyave, you are my friend and you are non-envious. Ishtoshi me, Priyosi me. When Krishna is telling Arjuna at the end of the 9th chapter, Manmana, think of me, bow to me, think like that. Same verses there practically at the end of the Bhagavad Gita. Because you are my very friend, I'm giving you this knowledge. So, if one wants to understand Bhagavad Gita, he has to become intimate with Krishna and be ready to be his false ego smashed by Krishna also, as it was in Bhagavad Gita. When Madanugrahaya Paramam Goyam Adhyatmas, when the beginning of the 11th chapter, how Arjuna said, now I understood. He heard the 10th chapter. He heard so many things. He said, now by your mercy I understand. But still, if you think Dadami Chak, give me divine eyes. I want to see the universal form. No one can say that after that you will not be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And so Arjuna was so intimate. He's sitting with Krishna during the 11th chapter verses. Arjuna was kind of lamenting and saying, Saketi atva pashabam yuruktam. Hey Yadava, hey, I'm calling you like, hey Yadava. Sometimes Arjuna was sarcastic, very friendly. I sat on the same bed with you, we ate together, ajanata mahimanam tave. But I don't really, Arjuna was so familiar, but he wasn't realizing Krishna's glories. Ajanata mahimanam tavedam. So he started to see the universal form. He was given, by the mercy of Krishna, divine eyes. Divyam dadami te chakshu. Actually, when we sing yesterday was the Narottam Das disappearance. And Narottam has given us this song, Shri Guru Charana Padma. And so we have these words also. Give us your divine eye. Chakudandi lo ye janme janme. Chakudandi lo ye tribhuvana. In the three worlds there we don't see any such great personality. Lokanam lokera. We say Prabhupada lokera jivan. He's the life. Our Guru Maharaj is the life of the three worlds. Tribhuvana. Very nice here, Tribhuvana Kamanam, Tamalavarnam. So Tamalavarnam, Krishna's body is so attractive, idam vapur nata. The word vapur alaka kulavatanana, his body. The many descriptions, I was just looking at the 10th canto, and Prabhupada is talking, don't go directly to 10th canto. Don't go directly to the jumping ahead, cheap. That is why we say, read Bhagavad-Gita first and understand. Nirmana moha jita sangha dosha. Nirmana moha, give up false ego. This is all spoken. Krishna speaking to Arjuna. Hitapo pashamanicha. After Krishna disappeared, we read that in a later chapter. Haranti all the misery. Desha karlakta yuktani. Arjuna said, now I can really understand. I'm separated from Govinda, but I understand that the instructions of Bhagavad Gita for all times and places. Desha karlakta yuktani. Hritapo. What do? Hritapo. They take away all tapa, miseries from the heart at all times and places. So it's not confined. Ishvara sarvabhutanam, that Arjuna is Prabhupada said, eternal associate of Krishna. He appears in the material world, various places, especially in the material world. And he gets these instructions. So what are those instructions? Arjuna did not want to fight. He ordered the chariot. He saw Drona, Bhishma, Karna, of all the relatives. He said, Raja Sukani Cha, I don't care for this type of happiness of being a king. I don't want to do that. But Krishna said, no, sorry. Akirti Karam Arjuna. You'll be infamous if you do that. So he was giving them the instruction as a friend. So Krishna's instructing everyone from within the heart. Sohridam sarvabhutana, suhridam sarvabhutana, Ishvara sarvabhutana. Within the heart, he's giving so many instructions. Just surrender to him utterly, like that. Wherever there's Arjuna and Krishna, Matir Mama, this Sanjaya speaking to Dhritarashtra, the very last verse, Dhruva Nitya Matir. There'll be all opulence, certainly, and all beauty and opulence, like that. And just by hearing the conversation between Krishna and Arjuna, so one has to understand Bhagavad Gita too. Prabhupada was preaching. Sometimes he said that Lord Chaitanya's mission is to preach Bhagavad Gita. Of course, he gave so many things, internal, external, but one cannot jump ahead of, one cannot go for his PhD, or if he hasn't finished his 3rd grade classes. So gradually, step by step, shana, upramed, we can relish over and again. Lord Chaitanya was relishing Bhagavad Gita, he was relishing also. Kaviraj Goswami, it gives so many exalted topics. He's the author of Chaitanya Charitamrita and so many wonderful Sanskrit shlokas he's given, but still he includes so many Bhagavad Gita shlokas in his Chaitanya Charitamrita. We cannot forget Bhagavad Gita. So in the Chaitanya Charitamrita is described that here's the Tamala Varnam, the color of the tamal tree. Kaviraj Goswami is there saying that when Radharani, she hears the flute or she gets the scent, she wants to fly into the wind, and she sees the color of Krishna, the tamalira. She wants to embrace the tamal tree. In fact, Rupa Goswami gives one verse where Radharani is exhibiting the highest exalted position of Mahabhav. She says, I want to give up my body, but when I do that, you please put my arms around the tamal tree. The tamal tree is growing in the Vrindavan courtyard, and Prabhupada would sit under that tamal tree. It's darkish bark on a tamal tree. So when Tamala Twishi, there's one verse where actually it was Balaba Bhattacharya, and he was trying to put himself forward as a great knower of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And he proposed to Caitanya Mahaprabhu, very careful when you make your argument against Lord Chaitanya. One may not be that good for your false ego. So he said, now I have given some explanation of the Krishna's name. What did Lord Chaitanya say? I don't know any explanation of Krishna's name. I only know two names. Sodanandana and Shyam Sundar. The color of the Shyam Sundar is darkish like the cloud or the tamal tree, that's all. So, of course, Lord Chaitanya said, Nam Namakari Bahuda Nijasa. There's unlimited, in the names of Krishna, there are many names of Krishna. And they all have the potency of Krishna. So Lord Chaitanya can give that explanation. We don't directly accept from anybody, unless they're directly in that line of Lord Chaitanya. So this tamal color, tribhuvana kamana, kamanam, most desirable. Something that is most desirable, calm. So we're all full of calm, desire in this material world. Kamendriya piti bancha, tarnam, calm. But when we desire, and for our own senses, sense gratification, our own ego, this is called atmendriya. Krishnendriya piti dari. Nam, prem. This is called prem. So the highest levels of prema also have this calm, kamanuga, this sambhog anuga. Like Arjuna, he's in the family of Krishna, so he's very friendly, but this is a sambhog, by relation, sambandhanug, sambandha. Because he automatically has, even Mother Yasoda, they already have, but the highest levels of kama, just like the brahmanas, in our line we chant the Kama Gayatri. In other lines they don't get Kama Gayatri, and other lineages of paramparas, they may not get that. But to understand the final limit of attraction to Krishna, and Krishna's body is composed of so many ecstasies described in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, so many moons, like the Kama Gayatri. So if we want to attain Krishna, Prabhupada introduced Bhaktisiddhanta, of course, giving this Gayatri mantra. And not just Om Bho Bhuva, but the mantras, the Kama Gayatri. This will help us greatly in attaining Krishna, developing this rati astume. Rati and bhav, sometimes they're synonyms, many times. Develop feeling, attraction. Because now, material world, everyone's simply attracted to this mundane pleasure. But Krishna here is described as tribhuvana kamanam. Everyone is attracted. And the different are described in this purport. Different types of rasas. Chariras, diya, tribhuvane, nachamo tribhuvane. In Caitanya Charitamrita, in the 4th chapter, Adi Lila, described that Sankirtana Pravartaimo, Yuga Dharma San Nama Kirtan Pravartaimo. Lord Chaitanya has come to inaugurate this Harinam. The Harinam will make everyone dance, Charibhav, in all 4 rasas. Any of the rasas. There's also Shantabhav, Shantarati also, but there's described the 4 rasas. And sometimes Shantarati is not considered, sometimes it is considered. But there it says, it will make them all dance, the entire 3 world, Tribhuvana Kamanam, Tamalavarnam. And one of Bhishma's others, very intimate verses he described. Lalita gati vilasa valgohasa, krita manokritya. How the gopis were imitating in ecstasy. So somehow or other Bhishma Dev, although he's in his bhav, this attraction in this virya form of relation with Krishna, he's admiring Arjuna. He's admiring the gopis also. How Krishna performed so many attractive things. The gopis were so intoxicated, they could only imitate Krishna in separation. Trilokyam Sobhaga. The gopis speak so many verses about the three worlds, how the three worlds are so fortunate. Trilokya Sobhaga. And also they describe, also the similar words are used here. Vapura laka kalavata, viksha kalavata mukam chava kundala shri. How they're describing Krishna with the hair falling over his cheeks and his earrings glittering and reflecting off of his cheeks and his lips so full and red and attractive. They could, so throughout Bhagavatam, the devotees are describing the attractive features of Krishna, but it reached the peak. And so we, going along reading Bhagavatam, we become more gradually attracted to Krishna. Not like the gopis though, but we aspire. Pramaiva Gopa. There's one description there given when Ramananda Roy was describing so many intimate activities, the gopis with Krishna, Pramaiva Gopa. Ramanam, he described it, that this prema is this type of prema. Uddhava and all these great devotees, they all aspire. Sanatana Goswami brings us also gradually upward through his Brihad Bhagavatamrita. Who is getting the mercy? Finally, we get to the Yadus, to the Pandavas, the Yadus, and he introduces us to the gopis there. So he's admiring. Asamaho charanarena dushamaham. He wants to take birth as some kind of vine or a plant or anything. To be in Vrindavan as a dust. Brahma wants to also stay as the dust. They have their relation, but they also want to be in Vrindavan. This Raja Bhakti is given. So this Bharhapidam, the same description is given from different devotees. So Vapura Laka Kalavartananabjam, his face, Mukam, Smita Loka Shokam. Mahaprabhu is also, his face is the embodiment of Radha Krishna, Radharani's mercy. So Rupa Goswami describes that this smile, his lotus face is described here. Rupa Goswami is saying in another way, Smita Loka Shokam Haratu Jagatam Parito. He says that one sees the smiling face of Caitanya Mahaprabhu. We can see it anytime, any day here on the altar. Smita Loka Shokam. It takes away all the shoka, lamentation, misery in this material world of everybody. Smita Loka Shokam Haratu. Jagatam, the whole world, Tri Jagat, Tri Bhuvana, the three worlds, Tri Bhuvana, Sohradam. Kastrangate, the gopis say, who in the three worlds would not be attracted by you? When they went out to meet Krishna in the forest, hearing the flute, then Krishna told them that, oh, this is not good, you've come out in the forest here at night, you should go back and you can understand me by meditation, by kirtan. There's no need, sankarshanam, to get my personal association. So we can take so many lessons from that. Of course, Vishwanath Chakravarti recommends that Krishna is giving two things at once. He's telling the gopis, don't go home. But he's actually saying in the Bhagavatam, they should go home, this is not good. I cannot repay you, I mean, your love for me is so intimate. So at one time, in the same verse here, Bhishma Dev is describing how he's attracted to this Ambaram, the Gora Vara Ambaram. Gora is the name also of Krishna. Can we see Krishna? Can we see as the name also of Lord Chaitanya, Krishna Chaitanya? So we can understand, the devotee sees that he is Gora, Gora, Gora. We don't find the word so much in Bhagavatam. A golden color. Many times the pitambara, different words are used to describe Krishna's dress. Barha, pidam, natavara, vapu, karnikaram, karnikaram, how Krishna's appearing in the forest with his blue flower in his ear, and he has his peacock, barha, pidam. Actually, when I joined, they told us we had no knowledge of 10th canto. 10th canto was not even, Krishna book was barely just printed. But Prabhupada had recommended we chant this verse. I don't know if any Prabhupada disciples here would remember, but this Jayati Janani Vasu Devaki Janma, it's near the end of the 10th canto. Jayati Janani Vasu Devaki Janma Parishad, Yarubara Parishad. And there's described that the gopis, they become, their kama increases when they see the smile of Krishna and they see Krishna. Jayati Janana Vasu Devaki Janma Yarubara Parishad Svara Debira Shana Dharmam Stira Charavijinagna Susmita Shimukena. Susmita means smiling. You read Nectar Devotion, there's different levels of laughing and smiling, and Smita is a very gentle smile. That smile is very subtle, and when it enters into the holes of Krishna's flute, when Krishna plays his flute, that smile of Krishna has entered in there, and it mixes with the camphor, and the vibration attracts the three worlds with his flute. And that flute sound is embodied in Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So when we chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we can always think, this is the sound of Krishna. If you hear sometimes any bhajan, or if you hear the Hare Krishna being sung, we shouldn't think that we're lacking the sound of Krishna's flute. We hear Prabhupada singing his harmonium, his mridanga. These are sounds like Krishna's flute. This is Krishna's smile. His whole body is a kingdom of moons, is described. Madhuram Madhuram Vaparasha. His Vapu is so sweet, it's described by Bilva Mangala Thakur. Madhuram 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 Madhugandhi Smito Midame Taraho Madhuram Madhuram Vaparasha Gandanda. The scent of Krishna is so sweet. But his face is the king of the moon. It is like the king on the throne of his body. His body is so many moons. So this Kama Gayatri mantra is 24 and a half syllables. They're compared to the moons of Krishna's face, body. There's so many moons on his fingernails. They dance on his flute. And then the toenails, they dance on the ground. And the sound that they make is the ankle bells of Krishna also. So Vishwanath Chakravarti was so obsessed with this 24 and a half syllables of the Kama Gayatri that he was practically going to give up his life. Because he couldn't, Kaviraj Goswami said, Sarda Chabish Akshara, that there's 24 and a half syllables in this Kama Gayatri that compared to the moons of Krishna's body, but he couldn't figure out what is the half syllable. So I don't know how long he spent, but his story about Vishwanath Chakravarti, he was so absorbed in Krishna's form and everything, but he just couldn't. Finally, some obscure book came to him in a dream or something and told him to look this up in the grammar and you'll find out. The half moon is Krishna's forehead. But moons of his cheeks, the moons of his, like that. His whole face is, of course, a moon. So it drives the three worlds. Kastrangate padayat kalapadayata. The gopis say, who in the three worlds would not be attracted? Trilokim, Solbhagya, the three worlds are so attracted. And when we see strong arms. It's said that Krishna, his flute, enters into the ears of the gopis like a nest and never comes out. They don't want to hear anything but the flute of Krishna. Sometimes Radharani says, now I'm going mad because I'm hearing the flute of Krishna. I'm seeing this golden yellow dress. I'm hearing his voice, his form. I see his picture. Now I'm attracted in so many ways. Lord Chaitanya is speaking like a madman. What can I go now? What shall I do? Kataya kata katam. So Kaviraj Goswami is introducing so many quotations about Krishna's flute. How it attracts the three worlds. In his Vidagdha Madhava, when his flute is heard, then even Ananta whirling around, dropping the planetary systems. He cannot stand still. And Indra, what happens to Narad Muni when he hears the Hare Krishna mantra? He's actually chanting and hearing, but he goes. And the Lord Shiva, Ram Ram Pancha Mahadev, with his 5 mouths. Those who have eyes, akshanvatam palamidam. There's no greater fruit, akshan. The gopis are speaking, akshanvatam palamidam. This is the fruit of the eyes, to see Krishna's form. His 2 arms, data bayam. They destroy all fear in this material world. And those arms, they enter into the hearts of the gopis. 2 strong, dark, serpent-like arms. And Prabodhananda Saraswati speaking also about the glancing smile, where he says, Kataksha, when one gets the sidelong glance of Mahaprabhu, then he can give up everything in this material world, all calm. Because we have full of desires other than Krishna, kama dinang katina katida palita dorni desha. And they're giving us dorni desh. Acharyas are giving us like upadesh amrita, the nectar of Rupa Goswami is giving nectar instructions. But our senses, kama dinang katina. One shloka is telling us in Chaitanya Charitamrita, kama dinang katina katida. We don't know for how many lifetimes we've been accepting so many material desires and thinking that it's very pleasant. It's not pleasant. In the end, it's poison. Kama katina dadi kalita palita dunidesha tesham jatama. And they're merciless. There's no mercy there. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Parama Karuna, but the others, they are not our friends. Therefore, Prabodhananda Saraswati says, who is your friend? Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Keache Tomara, I am your only friend. Who else is your friend? Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying, Jeev Jago. Ami Bina, Keache Tomara. I'm their only friend in this material world. So, otherwise, if we remain in the material with no rati, no attraction. Its attraction increases according to the more we read. Vayam nun navatripyama uttama shoka lila. The sages in the Naimisharanya, they were speaking with Sutta Goswami. We want to hear more, you tell us more. Arjuna said the same thing. I never tire of hearing this nectar, Amrita. Vayam tu navatripyama uttama shoka Yat shinvatam rasa jnanam. Svadu, we're tasting it pade, step by step. It's increasing. As Mahaprabhu says, Chaityadarpanamar Bhar Mahadevagni Neva Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitana Vidyavadhu Jivanam Pratibadam Purnam. You're getting a full taste and it's increasing more and more. Material pleasures are always smashing us. They lead to, Krishna is telling, Nirmana Mohajita Sangadosha. One has to conquer it. Give up his Nirmana Mohajita, bad association. Adhyatma Nitya Nivritti Kama. He has to conquer this calm. And Puryamana Machala Pratishtam Samudramapa, it's all spoken to Arjuna, the friend. Puryamanam, he's telling how so many rivers enter the ocean. So similarly, one tries to, they're compared to this material desires, but if one tries to satisfy, nakama kami, he can't satisfy them. They're simply increasing. Like adding ghee, Bhagavatam describes, like adding fuel to the fire. Kamo paboga. Kama esha, krodha esha, it leads to anger. It's krodad bhavati sammoha, illusion. Dayato vishayampung sangaste shubhachai sangat sanjayate kama. In the 5th chapter of the Gita, Krishna is also describing to Arjuna, his friend, because you're my friend, I'm giving you all this. So we're also getting this. Not only Arjuna, he's drinking directly, he's the calf, but we're also becoming qualified more and more to hear Bhagavad-Gita and to hear Bhagavatam. Not artificially, as Prabhupada is mentioning in this purport. Cheap relation of the Lord exhibit only the base mentality of the mundaner. The eternal relation of a particular soul with the Lord is evolved, has to evolve. A genuine relation, sarvasiddhi hoy. Iahoiti sarvasiddhi hoy. Caitanya Mahaprabhu says, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, just by the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, all these things are shown. It will show us, take us to Braj, Ishat Vikasi, Rupa Guna, the Rupa, the form. Of course, we're already seeing the form. Vacho Vachaka. In Rupa Goswami's one Namastakam prayers, he's saying the Vacha, the words, Vachaka, the words, and the person who speaks the words, but actually just by hearing the sound of Krishna's name, it evokes everything. Upalambakam, Uttamashloka Guna Palambakam. When Ajamil was hearing about the holy name, it was described there by Sukadeva, I think, that he says, this Uttama Shloka, he's glorified with all these great descriptions, like we're reading here. The form, everything is there in the holy name. You'll get all the pastimes, Rupa Guna, Lila, gradually they evolve. One cannot jump over the horse to eat the grass. This is a Bengali clever saying. They have many funny sayings like that. One jumps over the horse to eat the grass. You cannot eat the grass. It won't do you any good. You can try eating the grass. It's not very good. So the horse can eat the grass. You can ride the horse. So gradually, little by little, one develops his rati by reading the Bhagavatam, hearing it again and again. Never tire. Then we never tire of hearing Bhagavatam. Oh, I haven't read Bhagavatam. Let me read Bhagavatam. Let me read Bhagavad-Gita. It does not make any difference in Nija Nija Bhave. There's one, Kaviraj Goswami is giving Nija Nija Bhave, Seva Sukha Ras, that the devotees who have their own bhav, they never desire someone else's bhav. They're happy. Krishna Asvadane, and they make Krishna happy. He enjoys their ras. That's what they're mainly interested in. Of course, we don't know, most of us, what is our ras, but gradually it increases until it's revealed. This is said, Ishat Vikashi Purna Vikashati, Bhaktivinoda says, when it fully blooms, the flower of the holy name is a little bud, and it's gradually blooming, and it dances on the tongue. One's fully absorbed in that. Then he wants many tongues. He wants many eyes. Gopis, they say, what is this foolish creator? He has given us only 2 eyes. We need so many eyes to see Krishna. Millions of eyes, millions of tongues to speak the name of Krishna, and like that. So then Spiritual senses are evolving. We're becoming more and more. Bhishma Deva is a concrete example of this. It should be carefully observed how the great general is transcendently related with the Lord. So he has his relation. Malanama Sanir Ninams describe when the Krishna Balaram went into the arena to wrestle with Mustika Chanora. They saw him as they were the wrestlers. Mala means a wrestler. Malanama Sanir Nina. They saw him Ashanir as a lightning bolt. They could understand, wait a minute. But they're wrestlers. They're not going to say, oh, wait a minute. Can you imagine if Krishna comes in the wrestling arena and Krishna and Balaram are each carrying a tusk? They just killed this powerful elephant. You have to be feeling something like, wait, some trepidation. You'd be worried. Wait a minute, these little kids, but okay, we're going to wrestle these, But they're in the chivalrous Ras of Bhishma. He's in this. Malanama Shaninam, what does it say? It says that Smaro Mortima, Strinams, all the ladies saw him as Cupid. Kamaniya Vishesha Shobha, millions of Cupid. Manmata, the gopis are seeing. When they saw him in his yellow dress, they had a different relation with Krishna. He is Cupid. Bhishma Deva is seeing him as he's kind of adversary. But Vishwanath Chakravarti says when he was shooting the arrows, this is like the bitings of the lovers when they're very passionate. Krishna was not taking it as that he hates Bhishma Deva. No. Bhishma Deva is love, is rati, priti. So whether it's Arjuna, Bhishma Deva, we can study all these different relations of Krishna in Bhagavatam. And we finally get up to the gopis, and this is the highest stage. And we can relish that, but we simply don't only say that's all, we jump there and artificially. No, we have to really absorb and understand the entire Bhagavatam and Bhagavad-Gita. Okay, so, and then we want to relish more, we go to Caitanya Charitamrita. Caitanya Charitamrita is quoting Bhagavatam and so many other things, but then we say, oh, this is so much nectar. And then let me go back and see this again. So Sanatana Goswami says, by chanting, by hearing, this is nectar, and by meditation it's nectar, and the hearing is inducing us to go back and meditate more, but we're meditating on the holy name. Everyone is big craze back in the 60s, and still meditation. Oh, I do meditation. What you were meditating on? Nothing. You have nothing to meditate. Oh, do you meditate? We have so many shlokas to think of. Young Brahma Vaurananda Murtas. When the Beatles, Yoko Ono was a little intelligent in her own foolish way, but she said there's so many gurus giving so many mantras and so many this, so many that. She was right. There's so many. And Prabhupada quoted a verse from the beginning of the end of the 12th canto, the last verse, last chapter, first verse. How, he said, Gayantyang Samaga. No, we don't just chant Krishna. Gayantyang Samaga. He said, Young Brahma Varunandru Brahma, Varuna, Indra, they're all chanting the glories of Isyantam Navadu. They don't know the end. When does it end? Navadu, Sura Asuragana. Those who are the Asuras, no one can see the end of Krishna. It's going on. And the relationships are impossible. Sanatana Goswami says no one can describe a particle of the relation, actually the love that the gopis are feeling. But Mahaprabhu is given anyway. When Mahaprabhu was speaking with Sanatana was asking him something, and then Mahaprabhu went on. The opulence of Krishna is chapter 21, Madhya Lila, and he so much nectar, ocean of nectar. Just that one chapter, and then we have so many chapters, and we have three Adi Lila, Madhya Lila, all these. So just one chapter, in that one chapter, but he says this is just one verse. Also the Bhagavatam at the end, it says just by one, Prati Shloki. If one gets, A shloka pati, one shloka, half a shloka, or a syllable. Pati shlokam, pati shloki, pati akshare. Huh? Whatever, the masks are no good. I could usually read your lips. But anyway, so, pati shlokam, pati akshare. Even if one shloka Bhagavatam, one syllable, that verse is given there, then this is enough. The ocean. So Lord Chaitanya told Sanatana, he said, well, I didn't really mean to say this, but now you made me a little bit crazy. I don't know what. He asked him something about what he told Sarvabhauma. Actually, when Lord Chaitanya came to Sarvabhauma with prasad, after Sarvabhauma, he just woke him up. And he was such a paka, smarta Brahman, no way he would ever eat first thing in the morning. But Lord Chaitanya caught him. Said, I brought you some Jagat Maha here. So Sarvabhauma was quoting that Puti Parayusitam, what is it? You can eat this anyway. He became ecstatic. And after that, he embraced, there was ecstasy and crying. And Lord Chaitanya said, now I have conquered the three worlds. Just by seeing Sarvabhauma taking this prasada. So Lord Chaitanya can do that. He can conquer the three worlds just by doing that. So we have to become attracted. The three worlds are all attracted. They're attracted one way or another. Yaya tamam prabhajante. Everyone follows my path. One way or another they're attracted. Whatever you're attracted to, that is Krishna in that thing, whatever it is. It is the attractive, active ingredient is Krishna. But if you want to enjoy it and think it's yours, no. Nirmana moha jita sangata, you have to conquer that. Okay, so questions or comments? Yes.
When you say the translation of that verse, anyway, Prabhupada's comment that even a one word, one syllable is enough. What is that enough means? What is enough identify?
One pati shlokam pati akshara Bhagavatam, Krishna tuyo Bhagavata vibhu sarvashraya.
Pati shloke pati akshara nana arthaka.
Because Lord Chaitanya...
I'm not talking about that.
Oh.
When we're talking about Prabhupada said, even a one sentence, one paragraph, he came down,
Yeah.
even one word.
The Shruti you told us.
What does that mean? Like enough. What is enough for? What is that enough means?
Well, one word could be Krishna. Yes.
Yeah, enough of what?
Enough to get a taste. But Prabhupada said, why, just like when Yamadutas were challenging the Vishnu Dutas, Prabhupada said, it's enough to chant Hare Krishna. What is it? Eka Harinam Yatopap Hari. One Harinam is enough. But by one Harinam, one should be attracted to continually chant the holy name. But if he just hears one, Namaikam Yashavachi Smana Patam Gatam Shotra, if it enters the ears, Tunde Tandamani, it conquers the senses. No Jane Janita, Rupa Goswami Janita, Kiyabi Amritai Krishneti Varnadvai. We don't know how much two syllables, okay, let's say two syllables. You can have Ram, but let's just have the two syllables. He said, but Rupa Goswami says, we don't know how much nectar has been produced by those two syllables. But if you like the two syllables so much, then you're not going to stop chanting. And Lord Chaitanya says, Nirantara, always chant, 24/7. Anandam buddhi vardhanam pratipadam purnamritas. Gives a taste, so if it's giving me a taste, then I have to keep chanting. Pratipadam purnamritas, full purnamritas.
So what is your explanation when someone chant one time and then they gave up or don't even show up or no connection with the Hare? What is your...
Navaijano jatu katanchana vrajam. He cannot forget it. Rasagraha jana. Narad Muni says, even if he got one taste, he'll come back for it. That's what Narad Muni says. Pratyabhayana vijite. There's no loss or diminution. Swalpam apyasya dharmasya.
So you
So it's not completed in one life, he has to come back and he'll do it again.
So you are saying it is not according to my perception, but it has its own time.
Yeah.
To be
Well, Lord Chaitanya, when he's speaking when he's speaking with Sanatan, he's saying this one drop, Eka Bindu. Therefore, we pray that Eka Bindu Diya Gurudev, what is that song? Give me one drop, just one drop, Eka Bindu Diya. Shodahayamai, if I get one drop, then I'll be happy. Because devotees are humble, they say, it's okay, but just one drop. Sometimes they're humble. Other times, when people are fighting over Lord Chaitanya's Mahaprasad, they're saying, well, you are born in a Shuddha family. You don't really qualify for eating this prasada. They even hurl insults just to get Lord Chaitanya's Mahaprasad. But it's all done in a loving way. So, yeah, we say one word, but that word's increasing. It doesn't end. You have to keep saying it, though. You said it once, but then you have to come back and get it again. Like the sages said in Naimisharanya, Vayam tunava tripyam uttam ashoka. Yashinvatam rasa gyanam svarasvara padevide. Step by step, it increases. Anandam buddhi vardhanaikanipanosa dharma. It's increasing. The one word is the same word. Prabhupada said, people see us, we're chanting the same slogan. He used the word slogan. Interesting. Sloka, slogan. You see this relation. Anyway, when they see us standing in the street, these Hare Krishnas, they're chanting the same slogan. Whereas the non-devotees, they have to chant so many songs, and they have a new hit song, pop song, top 10, 40. It's all there. You have to get a new one every time. It's probably called the disease of another car. They want you to buy the new 2020, 2021. Oh, that's old. And some people have money. Who was talking the other day, Shesha, about the Sultan of Brunei, that he has 5,000 cars. Is he happy? His oldest son just died. Or second son, one of them, 39 years old. He died. I think the day after Shesha gave that class, or a few days later. So I don't think he's too happy. Sultan of Brunei has more money than anybody, even Jeff Bezos or anybody. But what's money? What is it going to do him? He can't take his son back.
But there's a good news about him.
About who?
Sultan of Brunei.
What's the good news?
He came with Indradumna Maharaj and honored Prasadam.
He did?
Yeah.
When?
I have a photo also.
Happened recently?
Yeah.
Are you speaking in the mic? Yes.
Giving a little land for us to build a temple. First time.
In that country?
They never allowed any Christian or any religion, but they are allowing her.
I thought he was a Muslim or something.
Yeah, he is a Muslim.
Tell it in the microphone. I mean,
I'll send you.
it's amazing. That's new news, huh? That is amazing. Okay, any other?
But I was just wondering, you gave so many nice descriptions of the beautiful Rupa of Lord Krishna. As an artist, how do you capture that?
No, you can't capture. Like Prabhupada said to the artist, I think it was just Jadharani was there, or that he said, this is one of the quotes Prabhupada said. He said, you're painting Krishna, but he said, even the demigods are painting Krishna. The gopis are painting, Radharani's painting Krishna, what you can do, what you can paint. So, our paintings are an attempt, like when they were asking Prabhupada about the color of Krishna. Sometimes it's described more sky blue, or just cloud, or darker, or a little bit. Every artist is showing different, slightly, sometimes extremely different. Like Prabhupada, he loved the painting of Anjali by the Banerjee, Sital Banerjee, but he's quite dark in that picture. And he's quite dark in that picture. And sometimes he's shown more dark. It doesn't. So, but Prabhupada, when he was thinking of the color, I think Bardar saw this, one of them. And Prabhupada said, I do not know what color. He is this rain cloud, and he was describing, then he went into a samadhi, he stopped speaking and said, I do not know what color that is. Okay. But Prabhupada was immediately drawn, just like that devotee who was the doctor. He fainted, but the Muslim king, and he saw a peacock fan. And He fell. He said, "Oh no, it's okay. I have epilepsy. Don't worry." Huh? Mukunda Das. He said, "Don't worry. I have some kind of a disease, so you don't have to worry." But he saw the peacock feather. So these are the Udipam. One sees Krishna. Prabhupada said, "Don't see the tree. See Krishna there." Don't think you're sitting on the floor, but you're sitting on Krishna. So if we're walking on Krishna, that's offensive. Maybe we have to figure out how to float.
I have one question.
Oh, Sukada's got the mic.
So I had a question about rasa. You talk about the gopis as the highest rasa, but we all have our eternal rasa with Krishna. I even heard that Prabhupada said that we were being trained up in the mood of the gopis, especially because we're involved in preaching and book distribution. But when I heard that, the word...
Even without book distribution, you can still enter the mood of the gopis. It's not necessary to be a book.
Just a preaching mood, all of us, whatever...
It's part of it.
But my question is, Arjuna, best friend of Krishna, the word highest, is that really...
No, there's that verse. Frank can quote the verse, Vichar, Tatashtahoya.
If you stand on the impartial or neutral position, then you can see who is higher, who is lower. But the person who has that, they never think. Mother Joshua never think.
Nija Nija Bhave, Shrestha Korimani. Each one is thinking his is Shrestha, the best. He's not worried that Mother Yasoda is not thinking, oh, the gopis are enjoying more than me. No, they don't have it at all.
There is a nice verse actually. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Hanumanji spoke one very nice verse. It's in Chaitanya. He says, Srinate, Janaki Nate, Ubayastu Paramatmane, Tata. It's okay.
No, it's not okay because people are frustrated at home. They don't hear anything.
They can't hear you.
So, Hanumanji says, the Srinate, Janaki Nate, Ubayastu Paramatmane, Tathapi Sarvasya Mama, Rama Kamala Lochana. I know that my Supreme Lord, Supreme Absolute Truth, has a many form, Lakshmi Narayan, Srinate. So he says, okay, there's Radha Krishna, Lakshmi Narayan, and Janaki Nate, my Sita Devi's husband. And then he says, but my Ram is my Ram. I cannot think anybody else. That is very good.
But that's in CC?
Yeah. This is Chaitanya Bhagavat, sorry. The verse is there.
In where? In CC?
Chaitanya Bhagavat.
Bhagavat, okay.
Yeah, CB.
What's the first word?
Srinate Janaki Nate.
Srinate Janaki Nate.
Uvayastu Paramatman. Very nice conclusion.
All right, I'm a bit of a cynic about this highest stuff. It's sort of like we're in a situation where we're thinking Bill Gates has $10 billion and Steve Jobs has $10 billion and $5. And if once I get, a job and start a company, I want to be like Steve Jobs and not like Bill Gates. It's such this is basically what you're saying. It's just such and you were saying, it's just such an inconceivable level of pleasure. It's like pedantic. One's higher than the other.
Sanatana Goswami says,
there's a discussion there, but
you can't describe it. The second verse, in the third verse of the Brihad Bhagavatamrita, he says, no one will ever be able to describe even the particle of the ecstasy the gopis are feeling. I mean, he's doing it. Rupa Goswami is doing it, but they feel that they're not really describing it, I guess.
I like this introduction. I really want to say, those who are listening, please read teachings of Lord Chaitanya. I really beg you all. Please read in Kartik, teachings of Lord Chaitanya, why Prabhupada put this 5 main chapter out of Chaitanya Charitamrita and put it in his own way. There is a secret. In the introduction, I still remember Prabhupada says, so who can understand Radha Krishna's this transcendental melody? He asked that question and he's answering. He said, Lord Chaitanya. Who understand what Lord Chaitanya got it? Then he's giving like gradual, one by one. Rupa Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami, all the way came down to Bhakti Siddhanta, then he stopped. So if when we have access through Prabhupada, we can get that, period.
No, Kaviraj Goswami is saying that if anyone says something about this Gopi Bhav, they must have heard it from from Swarup Damodar, because he's the only one who knows anything about it. So, so somehow, I don't know why Kaviraj Goswami is saying like that, but is Rupa Goswami depending on, I'm asking you, is he depending on Swarup Damodar? Is he? Is he independent? In other words, because Kaviraj Goswami is saying anyone who knows anything had to get it from Swarup Damodar. So Rupa Goswami got it.
But Swarup Damodar said something very interesting. He said, Rupa Goswami knows everything what is the purpose of your coming. He said that.
So it's approved.
You know that pastime.
Of course.
So then...
It's approved.
Proved.
Okay.
Whatever Srila Prabhupada says, 100% Rupa Goswami Pad's word. This is my conclusion. I understood.
Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.